Hello, everybody, and welcome to Mid-South Wrestling Television Network. I'm your host, Boyd Pierce. We have a lot of exciting action coming up for you, along with interesting interviews. You'll see Steve Dr. Death Williams in action. Also, the International Tag Team Champions, Big John Studd and the Super Destroyer will be here. Also, the North American Heavyweight Championship will be on the line. We have a new North American Heavyweight title holder. To bring you the details and make the announcement, our guest commentator, the Oklahoma Stampeder Cowboy Bill Watts.
Well, Boyd, thank you. You're really generous because I know this announcement is going to stun everybody. Through a very unusual set of circumstances, June the 21st in downtown New Orleans, the Junkyard Dog defeated Bob Roop and became the North American champion. Ted DiBiase was scheduled to wrestle Bob Roop that night, and in an altercation in the Dog's match that DiBiase went in and probably kept the Dog from being seriously injured. He was hurt. Grizzly Smith had promised him a match. He put the Dog back in there. The Junkyard Dog won the match. Bob Roop is protesting, but Mid-South has said that the Junkyard Dog is the North American champion. That brings us to an unusual situation because, first of all, the Dog as the Louisiana champion must vacate that title, and a tournament will be held for it because the Dog, due to the rigorous scheduling, cannot defend the North American, the Louisiana, and the Mid-South tag. So the Dog has already vacated the Louisiana title. They will hold the tournament, the one-night tournament in Baton Rouge on July the 6th. But the second thing is that Ted DiBiase was promised a no disqualification, one fall, no disqualification match against the North American champion today here on television. And Ted DiBiase said if he got the match and didn't win it, he would leave Mid-South. Here's a young man who was the best man. The Junkyard Dog was his best man in his wedding. They've been inseparable companions, and due to the fortunes of war, so to speak, they have to wrestle today for the most prestigious title in the United States. But first, let's talk to the Dog about his feeling about having to vacate the Louisiana title.
There's very few people throughout the world have to stand up under the pressure as I, the Junkyard Dog, is standing under today. Some because I was very fortunate in New Orleans to win the North American heavyweight belt from Bob Roop. Now, following the rules through the Mid-South area, any man on any given day that maintains the Louisiana heavyweight belt and also the North American heavyweight belt have to forfeit the Louisiana belt. And on July the 6th in Baton Rouge, they will have a tournament for this Louisiana belt. Now back to the North America. Now I will defend this North America belt the best of my abilities throughout the world, just like I did with this Louisiana belt, Louisiana heavyweight belt. And I will praise the North American belt just as much, and I will fight just as hard for this North America belt that I did with my Louisiana belt.
Well, Boyd, I don't think DiBiase ever in his wildest dream imagined he would be facing the situation that faces him today, that he would be wrestling his best friend, the Junkyard Dog, for the North American title, one fall, no disqualification. And also the added stipulation that he executed himself, that if he doesn't win that title, he'll leave Mid-South. I asked Ted DiBiase about it. Let's listen to his answer.
Well, Bill, when Mid-South Wrestling promised me a North American title shot, no disqualification, one fall to win, never in my wildest dreams did I imagine that I would have to face the Junkyard Dog. In my professional career, I've always maintained that I could beat any man walking in professional wrestling, but I have to admit, very honestly, that right now I'm left with some doubt in my mind as to whether I can beat the Junkyard Dog. But the Junkyard Dog doesn't pay my bills, and he doesn't put a roof over my family's head. And if I don't win this match, I have to leave Mid-South. That's part of the agreement that I've made. And ever since I've been in professional wrestling, I've always been taught that when you step in that ring, friendship ends and business starts up. So Junkyard Dog, I either have to go or I have to beat you. So tonight I'm going to do my dead level best to do just that, to beat you and regain the North American heavyweight title.
In asking the Junkyard Dog his opinion about defending the title against Ted DiBiase, you could tell the Dog was reticent and didn't really want to talk about it, and certainly doesn't relish having his first title defense against a man that's been so close to him. Let's listen as the Dog answers the question about what he thinks about defending this title against DiBiase.
Right now, the Junkyard Dog, very few people ever heard me at a low profile, but now I'm standing at a very delicate situation. Here's a man that if I sign the paper through the Mid-South area, if he doesn't regain the North American heavyweight title, he will have to leave the Mid-South area. And I never thought on any given day that I have to face Ted DiBiase. Now I'm standing on a time bomb. But Ted DiBiase, just like he said, I listen at his promos. I don't feed his family. I have a family of my own to feed. And there's so many things that it got me all confused because I was Ted DiBiase's best man in his wedding. It means a whole lot to me. But I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to give Ted DiBiase a chance at this North America belt. And one thing I feel for sure, I don't have to worry about my back because Ted DiBiase is a fair man.
Well, Boyd, one man who's never reticent and never at a loss for words, Bob Roop, the former North American champion, who possibly justifiably was, quote, ripped off, close quotes, but still the man winning the title was certainly deserving. Bob Roop made some comments about the DiBiase Junkyard Dog match and also issued a challenge. Let's listen to that now.
You hear a lot of complaints, but I have a legitimate claim for a ripoff. I signed for a title match with Ted DiBiase. He couldn't make it. He couldn't face up to the match. Instead, Junkyard Dog came into the ring. I didn't even have a contract signed with him. Attacked me. Yes, he beat me and he won the belt. I am no longer the champion. Well, I'm issuing a challenge right now to the Junkyard Dog. I want a match with him next week. And what I'm saying is, I can sit here and say, rest fairly assured that the Junkyard Dog will be the North American champion next week because Ted DiBiase couldn't beat me for the title, and there is no way that he can beat the Junkyard Dog. So next week, I'm going after the Junkyard Dog for the North American title, and it'll be back where it belongs.
Well, Bill Watts, later on in today's program, we will have the North American Heavyweight Championship on the line. Junkyard Dog defending against Ted DiBiase with no disqualification. And my guest commentator during that title match will be the former North American Heavyweight Champion, Bob Roop. Right now, we'll be back with live action after this important message from Mid-South Wrestling Television Network.
This event is for one fall with a 10-minute time limit. In the red corner at 260 pounds from Cincinnati, Ohio, Jeff Sword. And in the blue corner at 300 pounds from Lakewood, Colorado, Dr. Death, Steve Williams.
The introduction of the opening event in the aqua tights, making his first appearance here on Mid-South Wrestling, Jeff Sword, and taking off the red jacket from the University of Oklahoma, not only a tremendous, outstanding, rising young professional wrestling star, but just a great athlete, Steve Dr. Death Williams. Here's Bill Watts.
As you can see, he's a powerful man, Doc. I don't think he really knows his own strength. 22 years old, he bench presses over 450 now. Great young pro, just starting out, and has another year yet to play with the University of Oklahoma's fine football team next year under Barry Switzer. I got to watch Steve through the 4 years of his college wrestling competition, and my children really look up to him. Also, Dave and Mark Schultz, two other national champions at Oklahoma, just had worked with my young son Micah at a clinic in Lawton, Oklahoma. And Micah then went to the USWF Nationals in Pueblo, Colorado. And with a variation of the hold that they taught him there, pinned his way through the clinic and pinned his way through the tournament and took first. We were really proud of Micah, and he took first in 12 and under division heavyweight. A lot of fine kids from Oklahoma there making great showing. Damon Johnson from Oklahoma City, Kringle Smith, Greg Davis from Bixby, Carl Belford from Oklahoma, the McCall twins, McAfee, the young cross boy from Jinx. They all did tremendous. We had a great showing up there, and I enjoyed the tournament in Pueblo. Naturally, my son doing so well, it was exciting for me. Great to see Bob Dellinger, who's the top director for USWF at the tournament. A lot of old friends, Jim Hall, and now Dr. Death. Youngster in there with Jeff Sword. And Jeff Sword feels that power. You know, he's hitting him with everything he's got, and it's not even phasing, Doc. I don't think he wants to mix it up too well with him. Test of strength. I don't know that that's the wisest move to make against Doc, but of course you wonder where to test him. He's got the powerful legs, the short, thick torso. Told me he's pulling down. He's about 280 now. He's only got 20 pounds to go. Switzer wants him down to 260 for the football season, playing right guard on Oklahoma's football team. Be able to watch his career probably in some nationally televised games such as the Texas-Oklahoma game and the University of Nebraska in Oklahoma, and hopefully a major bowl game. Well, Boyd, I'll tell you, I would have missed it today if I'd had to buy a ticket with Ted DiBiase and the Junkyard Dog. It's one reason I always like to be a loner in this business, because you never wanted to get too close to anybody. You didn't know that when you'd have to be wrestling, because you make your living and you feed your family by winning matches. Dr. Death showing that form that makes him one of the top offensive guards. Turnbuckle. He was set for the sword. Picked him up. The Oklahoma Stampede right there. Doc puts him away.
And the hold that made Cowboy Bill Watts famous. The Oklahoma Stampeder gains another victory for Dr. Death Steve Williams. We'll be back with tag team action after this word from Mid-South Wrestling.
And now a non-title tag team event for one fall with a 10-minute time limit. In the red corner, the International Tag Team Champions. At 339 pounds from Los Angeles, California, Big John Studd. And his partner at 308 pounds from parts unknown, Super Destroyer. And in the blue corner at 212 pounds, from Memphis, Tennessee, David Price. And his partner at 255 pounds from Dyersburg, Tennessee, Ernie Kirkland.
All the top stars of the grappling world continue their way to Mid-South Wrestling territory. It's the International Tag Team title holders, Big John Studd and Super Destroyer, as they take on the duo of Ernie Kirkland and David Price. Bill?
Well, certainly the Super Destroyer is no stranger to Mid-South, and Big John Studd is a man that's got an international reputation. They're coming down here and they say they're going to relieve the Junkyard Dog and Mr. Olympia of the Mid-South tag titles. They're coming from Atlanta, Georgia, and they really think they're coming down to show everybody how it's done in the big city. But I got to remind you, if you watch wrestling out of Atlanta, you're going to see that they come through the threshing machine down here at Mid-South first. After they get chewed up and spit out, they go up and make a name for themselves on Atlanta TV. So I think they're put their priorities a little bit backwards, because the Dog and Mr. Olympia sent Alpha and Sika, the Samoan Warriors, running. Bob Roop and Ted DiBiase sent Paul Orndorff running. Now they're superstars up in Atlanta. So when you come down here to Mid-South, you might not get quite the international publicity, but this is the mark of who are the real studs in professional wrestling, is the men that maintain main event status right here. And John Studd and Super Destroyer, as powerful as they are going to find out there's some rough ones around. Andre the Giant coming back, Big Ernie Ladd, Ted DiBiase, Junkyard Dog, Mr. Olympia. Buck Robley's back today. So I'll guarantee you can find just about any mix you want. Now, John Studd is just annihilating this man. He's showing that tremendous strength and power that he's so well known for. And like I say, the Super Destroyer, not only with the power, but his superplex. It's one devastating move. And this young man, David Price, is finding out a rough welcome to professional wrestling. There, Super Destroyer sets him up for that superplex, that patented move that only he can make. I'll tell you, that young man's going to have a lot of pain for a lot of time. He just got adjusted, a full spinal adjustment, as Dr. Anderson, my old chiropractic buddy in Tulsa, Oklahoma, would say. And now Big John Studd comes in to put on the coup de grace, lifts him up into the upside-down backbreaker, and the way he's been adjusted, I'll guarantee you, David Price has had enough of it. Ernie Kirkland comes in, and Super D shows his mobility by hitting him with a drop kick. And they've totally intimidated and physically outgunned and outmanned these individuals.
A victory for the International Tag Team Champions, Big John Studd and Super Destroyer. Coming up, the North American Heavyweight title with no disqualification right after this word from Mid-South Wrestling.
Now a title match for the North American Heavyweight Championship with no disqualification. This event is for one fall or remaining television time. In the blue corner at 255 pounds from Omaha, Nebraska, former North American Heavyweight Champion Ted DiBiase. And coming into the ring now at 268 pounds, from Tennessee, the brand new North American heavyweight champion, the Junkyard Dog.
This is a sanctioned title match for the North American Heavyweight Championship. The Junkyard Dog, the champion, defending against the challenge of Ted DiBiase, 1 fall with no disqualification or TV time remaining. Our guest commentator for this match is the former North American Heavyweight Champion who lost that title to the Junkyard Dog in New Orleans on June the 21st, Bob Roop.
Well, first of all, Boyd, I assure you I will not interfere in this match for 2 reasons. One, it's a low-class thing to do. Secondly, it costs $2,500. Now, Dusty Rhodes and Ted DiBiase had the low class to interfere in a match. I'm not going to do it. And also, look at the strength of the Junkyard Dog there. Also, it might give Ted DiBiase some reason to weasel out of the deal that he made. He is going to have to leave Mid-South area because there is no way that he can beat the Junkyard Dog. Let's face it. And it's really ironic. You know, I feel bad about being an ex-champion, but I still have the satisfaction of watching Ted DiBiase leave this area. Well, nice move on his part. Good move on DiBiase's part. Go behind.
What you're trying to say to me and the fans that followed us so faithfully through the year, they understand simple things. You're trying to explain that Ted DiBiase has boxed himself in either way, right?
Well, he thought it was going to be me. He was going to be wrestling for the North American title. He never dreamed it'd be his best friend, the man that was the best man at his wedding, the Junkyard Dog, that he was going to have to beat or leave Mid-South. Now, even if he hated the Junkyard Dog, he still couldn't beat him. And this is his best friend. These guys go back a long way together. Junkyard Dog stood up for Ted DiBiase when he got hurt in Atlanta. He went in, took over his matches. He helped him financially when Ted DiBiase was unable to make a living. When Junkyard Dog got blinded, Ted DiBiase acted in effect as a seeing-eye dog for him, led him around, made sure nobody bothered with him. Oh, they're good friends. Ride down the road together. Now they got to wrestle each other. And big, big stakes. Not just titles at stake here, but careers. Now you're seeing some good moves, but both these men have got in the back of their minds, hey, this is my friend I'm wrestling. This is a man that's watched my back. This is a man I've ridden maybe 100,000 miles down the road with, talked to about my hopes and dreams, and now I got to beat him. Now look right there. Junkyard Dog had him. He could have dropped that fist on him, what he calls the 4 fingers on Thumb Street. He could have dropped them on him and maybe put him out right there, and he hesitated. That shows the friendship he has, and myself, I would have finished him, but Junkyard Dog, he's got a heart. He's shown that he cares for his family and everything. I don't think it's wise, but that's the way he is. Now again, look at him. He's got a chance there. He had another chance. Didn't take advantage of it. Even with Junkyard Dog holding back, though, there is no way that Ted DiBiase can beat him, because I'll tell you what, if I can't beat the Junkyard Dog, then Ted DiBiase can't beat me, then he can't beat the Junkyard Dog, and I'm coming here on TV next week, and I'm going to beat the Junkyard Dog myself. Look at him, shaking hands. This has got to be a very, very difficult match for both of them because of the fact that how can you hurt a guy that's watched your back for years? How can you hurt a guy that's sat down at the dinner with you, that's been friend of you, watched your kids grow up, the whole ball of wax? I love it. I hope they kill each other. Again, look at that power. Junkyard Dog caught him. Well, DiBiase, Junkyard Dog got a little bit off balance. DiBiase got close enough to the ropes. He didn't catch him with that thumper. That might have finished it right there. DiBiase got in the ropes. No. Caught him with that side drop. Not enough. DiBiase had enough resilience to kick out. It's ironic. DiBiase cheated me out of the North American title. Ooh, power slam. This could be it. Oh, I don't believe that. Neither does Ted DiBiase. Going for the figure 4. Going for the leg lock. Junkyard Dog over the top rope, but hey, no disqualification in this match. DiBiase's hurt.
Over on the
Do you
cement
believe
floor.
the way, Boyd, excuse me, but do you believe the way Junkyard Dog came out of that power slam? That's what doing that 550-pound bench press, that's what working with those weights does for you. Gives you the strength to get a man off you. Now look him, he's showing his friendship right here. He's showing the fact that he's got a heart. I don't agree with it. I think you ought to finish him. But he's showing he's got some heart here. He's helping a man. He's helping his friend back in the ring. What's Ted DiBiase doing? Wait a minute. What's he doing? He went in his tights and put something in that glove. Wait a minute. 1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3. Alfred Neely raises a hand.
He put something in that glove.
Of Ted DiBiase.
I knew it.
He is the new North American Heavyweight Champion.
I knew it. He planned. I knew it. I told the people weeks ago. That glove, he planned that for me all along. That glove was planned for me. Can you imagine his best friend? He put something in that glove. Nobody can knock the Junkyard Dog out with just one punch. Look at him. He's still out. Ted DiBiase had that plan for me. Boy, he's got some honor, doesn't he? He's got some decency, doesn't he? His ambition is a lot stronger than his sense of honor. He just stabbed his best friend in the back.
Bob, Ted DiBiase is the new North American Heavyweight Champion. That means we have more action. There'll be standby matches after this word from Mid-South Wrestling.
Well, Boyd, I think I, like you, like everybody at home, is a little bit in shock right now. It's taken all this time for him to finally get the Junkyard Dog out of the ring. They had to get some ice out of the concession area. And, you know, I don't really, Bob Roop was talking about DiBiase and something with that glove. I was watching him in the dressing room, and I couldn't tell that much, but I can say this, that I've seen the dog hit with a lot of things. I have never seen his running lights put out like that, because he definitely is not one of those people with a glass jaw. He can take a beating, and they just now got him out of the ring. We'll try to investigate this further, but Ted DiBiase is the North American champion. Another institution, a man that is the 8th wonder of the world, 7'4", 485-pound Andre the Giant, was hurt, and only one man has ever hurt him and hospitalized him. That was Killer Khan under the guidance of Fred Blassie. That happened last year, and we'll talk with Vince McMahon Jr. from Madison Square Garden as he was talking about to Andre after he got his cast off. Let's join that.
Ladies and gentlemen, there used to be a 10-pound cast on this size 22 foot, but there is no cast now. There is no cast at all on either foot. This extraordinary athlete, the most extraordinary of all time, just finished a very rigorous workout. After showering, toweling off Andre the Giant, are you not ready for Killer Khan?
I'm more than ready. I feel so good to sit here with you with no cast on. Believe me, after over 2 months in that cast, just like I said to you before, I'm ready to fly everywhere you want me.
Killer Khan feels that you will not be at 100% capacity.
That's what he thinks. But can you see the way it's from my foot, and you saw me work out before.
I think you look better than ever.
I told you what I was there before. A few months ago, I got a surprise for you. Even when you called me in my place, I told you I got a big surprise.
Andre,
and you see it yourself now.
Yes, indeed, but we have a surprise for you. We're going to take you back to what happened on television, just not long ago, as a matter of fact. Andre the Giant.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is a very special segment of our program this week. It gives me great pleasure to introduce to you, without a doubt, the most phenomenal athlete of all time. Here with us, the one and the only Andre the Giant. Terrific. The question is, how are you doing?
I'm feeling very good. In fact, I got good news for you.
We could stand some good news. What is it?
Tomorrow, I'm going back in the hospital to take off my cast.
That is really good news. So tomorrow the cast comes off. You obviously, Andre, have been exercising and things of that nature, have you not, to keep the ligaments loose or whatever?
Yeah, and in probably 4 or 5 more weeks, I'll be back in the ring. Maybe before that. The doctor says that everything is okay. It'll be perfect maybe in 2 weeks.
So as soon as the cast comes off, then you're going to be thinking about stepping back in the squared circle. Let me ask you, Andre, do you feel, your doctors and what have you feel, that it's wise to go back into the ring so soon?
We're going to find it tomorrow after they take off the cast. They're going to take some more X-ray. And then I'm going to be ready, I think, maybe 2 or 3 weeks. And Freddie Blassie, he better get Killer Khan in shape because I'll be ready to chase him everywhere.
Andre, I'm sure it was frustrating for you to be in the hospital and to listen to Fred Blassie. You're not invited.
I don't care if I'm invited. What do you got this Palook on out for? What are you asking him for? You see the legs broke, he's all through. He's washed up.
He's not with Mr. Blassie.
What are you talking about? I'm washed up. You say I don't go to wrestling anymore. But I got the news. I'm going back in that ring.
You're going back on what? You're all through. This ain't nothing but a Palooka. He's all through. The man is through. You.
Andre, in viewing that and viewing what happened to you with Killer Khan, how do you feel?
I will tell you, when that happened, I have the cast on that time. But now the cast is out. Again, you see my leg and you see the way I walked in that ring before. Just so you know, I'm ready and calm. This time you don't have any use in these quarters to get you in my back because I don't let you go come in my back. And I want to say one thing, Freddie Blassie. If you show up around that ring, I will knock you out, put it under that ring, and then I will take care of you, Killer Khan. But now, you say, even if I stay those quarters, I go to use it and broke it all over his back. And Khan, you better be ready because you never see a giant man before. And I'm going to tell you, you call yourself a giant Mongol. You're not a giant at all. You're only 6'6". I'm 7'4", and I'm more than ready because I'm still undefeated.
Well, Boyd Skandar Akbar knew what he was doing when he bought the Mongolian Killer Khan's contract from Freddie Blassie. But just like Andre the Giant said, he's mad. And when you're 7'4", 485 pounds, you're formidable when you're happy. When he's mad, there's no telling what kind of damage he'll do. I'll tell you another man that's going to be mad when he comes to and figures out just what's happened to him and gets his marbles all back straight. That's going to be the Junkyard Dog. A lot of things are happening. Don't go away. Let's go to the ring now to Killer Khan and Skandar Akbar.
This event is for 1 fall or remaining television time. In the red corner, at 306 pounds from Mongolia, General Skandar Akbar presents Killer Khan. And in the blue corner, at 218 pounds from Jonesboro, Arkansas, Joe Stark.
Your next event now, standby match as Skandar Akbar has bought and purchased the contract of Killer Khan, sending him in against Joe Stark in the maroon tights. As the bell, here's Bill Watts.
Killer Khan, an awesome man, a cruel, heartless man, a methodical man. A man, the only man to ever put Andre the Giant in the hospital. Front face lock on Joe Stark. Another giant suffered at the hands of Killer Khan, Big Ernie Ladd. And we're going to have Ernie Ladd against Killer Khan right here on Mid-South Wrestling next week. So be sure to be here for that confrontation between two big men. Also, the Junkyard Dog must meet the challenge of Bob Roop.
And the Mississippi heavyweight title will be on the line. Mr. Olympia defending against the masked grappler.
So a great card. This is the first standby match. We have another top star back, Buck Robley. It's returned. A man who, when he found out the assassin was here, Buck Robley was my tag partner when we had a lot of run-ins with the Assassin, Rock Hunter, and the French Angel. And when Buck Robley found out the Assassin was back on the scene, he put his bid in. And of course also entered that one-night tournament in Baton Rouge on the 6th for the Louisiana title. Junkyard Dog, when you really have time to start adding it up, this man is at a tremendous loss. Vacated the title due to the rules situation, a tournament set that he's not even entered in, and now he's lost the North American Championship. So when the Junkyard Dog gets it together and really figures it out, I hate to say it, but it looks like he is a victim, a true victim. And maybe Bob Roop's right. Maybe DiBiase had planned that all along for Bob Roop and decided that against the dog, he would have to take desperate measures. Look at Khan. He is awesome. Awesome. That's off the second rope. It's legal. He is wiped out. Joe Stark.
Killer Khan, to the delight of General Skandar Akbar, continues his rugged assault, gains a victory. We'll be back and see Colonel Buck Robley in action after this word from Mid-South Wrestling Television Network.
This event is for one fall or remaining television time. In the red corner at 235 pounds from Charlotte, North Carolina, Billy the Star Child Starr. And in the blue corner at 242 pounds from Amarillo, Texas, Buckley Christopher George Robley III.
The Colonel is back as Billy Starr is introduced, and then Colonel Buck Robley, who with a familiar yellow shirt saying nobody calls me yellow. Here's Bill Watts to tell us about it.
Well, Boyd Pierce, could it be that Superdome fever is hit again? It seems like Mid-South at tremendous intensity always takes over as people vie for positions on the Superdome. Saturday, July the 18th. Excuse me, Saturday, July the 17th. Have a big event in Tulsa, Oklahoma at the Assembly Center on the 18th, on Sunday the 18th. Buck Robley back. Tom Jones is back to team with Ernie Ladd against the one-man gang and the Grappler. You recall last week, the one-man gang and the Assassin were scheduled to wrestle Tony Torres and Mike Hudspeth, and Ernie Ladd and the Junkyard Dog had taken their contract and came in and tried to get the Assassin and the one-man gang to wrestle them, and they vacated the premises and refused. So this week, Ernie Ladd's got Tom Jones against the one-man gang and the Grappler. If we have airtime left, that's our next standby situation. And of course, that great lineup next week. Ernie Ladd against Killer Khan. The Mr. Olympia defending the Mississippi title against the Grappler. The Junkyard Dog against Bob Roop. Ooh, I don't know if I'd want to be in Bob Roop's shoes.
That's three big main events anywhere, Bill, anywhere. And you'll see it right here on Mid-South Wrestling.
You see the Colonel here, too, and what he knows best. Colonel Buck Robley, who admittedly says that he is one of the schemingest individuals, a rotten individual. He's very proud of it. Nobody calls me yellow. A rough man. He and Dick Murdoch, Killer Carl Cox, a history about Buck Robley. One thing about Buck Robley, he can dish it out, he can take it, he can wrestle, he can fight. The man who in a car auto wreck had to have his arm replaced partially inside with steel, has that protective covering over it, but he's also been known to use that as a weapon against Billy Starr. Reverse neck break, fall away. Colonel Buck Robley was the Dog's partner in one of the most fabulous eras of Mid-South against the fabulous Freebirds, as the Dog was blinded and Buck and he teamed up after the Dog came out of his blindness and defeated the Freebirds. Billy Starr getting his foot on the ropes, which breaks the count. You know, the Junkyard Dog, the man they have to scheme to get rid of. Bob Roop said it aptly. No one man can beat him fair and square, and I'm sure that pressure had Ted DiBiase. And Ted DiBiase made a decision, and the decision he'll have to live with for the rest of his life, that he double-crossed his friend. I don't want to prejudge Ted until we've had a chance to look at the films, but you can only look at the evidence that Bob Roop caught him adjusting something in that glove, and the Junkyard Dog, it was unconscious for almost 4 minutes, 3 minutes anyway. Took 4 referees, Grizzly Smith, the ice to bring him around. And I've seen Junkyard Dog tapped with a lot of things that have never been put down like that. So it lends some credence to Bob Roop's challenge or charge that DiBiase had something that he put into that glove. And of course the Dog walked out like a lamb to the slaughter, never dreaming that DiBiase would try something like that. He walked out totally unarmed, jaw exposed, protecting his legs in a wrestling maneuver, and instead got tapped on the jaw and knocked unconscious. And Ted DiBiase won the North American title. We've seen that North American title do strange things to a lot of people. Look what it did to Paul Orndorff. It controlled his life, became a passion that destroyed him. I certainly hope Ted DiBiase. Sleeper hold, Buck Robley. Buck Robley, the master of many holds. Billy Starr feeling the Colonel's, look at the Colonel laugh. He knows he has him. That's it.
That's it. Buck Robley the winner. We still have time for Big Ernie Ladd and Tom Jones against one-man gang in the Grappler after this word from Mid-South Wrestling.
It's tag team action now for one fall or remaining television time. In the red corner, at 246 pounds from parts unknown, the Grappler. And his partner at 454 pounds, the one-man gang. And coming to the ring now are their opponents, but it seems that the assassin has something to say.
I got a couple of things I want to say. You know, last week, the one-man gang and I were scheduled to wrestle Hudspeth and Torres. Yet Big Mouth Ernie Ladd and the Junkyard Dog tried to jump us from behind. Well, we didn't stay around to have any part of that, but I'm going to tell you something. Ladd, let's finish it once and for all. Let's finish it right here, right now, once and for all. Why don't you two guys go get yourselves a partner? Go get yourselves a partner. Yeah, go get the Junkyard Dog. Oh, yeah, I'm sure he's got a nice headache from that. He's really got a headache right now. Or go get Ted DiBiase. Yeah, he's somebody that can really be trusted now, isn't he? Go get yourselves a partner, and let's finish this thing once and for all. Come on, go get yourselves a partner. I like to see the bum that you get.
Well, let's see what happens here now.
Well, Boyd Pierce, you notice that the assassin says, get yourself a partner, and let's finish it off. He doesn't say, let's finish it off one-on-one, does he?
That's right.
Seems to want a lot of help around him in case it gets too hot in the kitchen. Ernie Ladd certainly couldn't get the Junkyard Dog right now, and I don't think he'd want to have Ted DiBiase. It'll be interesting to see if he can get somebody, maybe Mike Sharp, who's been his partner before.
And here they
There he's bringing the Colonel, Buck Robley.
Big Ernie Ladd and Tom Jones.
Rick Pereira calls for the bell.
And of course the assassin knows he better get a hold of Buck Robley. We only got a minute of airtime. This is going to be a war. Boyd Pierce, I don't think we're going to have a match. It's just going to be mayhem. Colonel Buck Robley, the man who's never liked the assassin. Ernie Ladd in there against the Grappler. Tom Jones in there with the one-man gang. All six of them in the ring. I don't know if they're going to finish it one-on-one. It looks like it's just going to be a wild and woolly war. We're running out of airtime. We will investigate. We will try to have the answers to what happened between Ted DiBiase and the Junkyard Dog by airtime next week. A great card lined up. Grizzly Smith, matchmaker's outdone himself again. Boyd Pierce, thank you for having me.
Thank you, Bill Watson. Don't forget, wrestling next week.
Ernie Ladd after the one-man gang.
Mr. Olympia against the Grappler, Ernie Ladd against Killer Khan, Junkyard Dog against Bob Roop. Our time is just about gone. Thank you, Bill Watts, for our special guest commentator. Thank you, fans, for watching. Until next week, Boyd Pierce saying goodbye, everybody. Mid-South Wrestling Television Network. Hello, wrestling fans. I'm Boyd Pierce, your host this week on Mid-South Wrestling Television Network. We appreciate you viewing with us because a lot of action. The Mississippi Heavyweight Championship on the line. Mr. Olympia defending against the challenge of the Masked Grappler. Bob Roop in the ring against the inevitable Junkyard Dog. Ted DiBiase is back, taking on Tom Jones. Just a lot of great action. And the man who will tell us all about it, the Oklahoma Stampeder, our guest commentator, Cowboy Bill Watts.
Well, Boyd, a lot of things have been happening in Mid-South, and naturally with the Superdome looming as a large event of the summer in all professional wrestling, I think it often brings out the heat of the moment in a lot of events where everybody's still up in the air over Ted DiBiase. We have examined several things and have an in-depth situation which we'll go into later. And of course the Junkyard Dog is going to have to somehow beat Bob Roop, or Bob Roop beat the Dog to see who's number one in line for DiBiase's title. But now let's go to the ring and Reeser Bowden for this first big event on today's card.
It's tag team action now for one fall with a 10-minute time limit. In the red corner at 260 pounds from Cincinnati, Ohio, Jeff Sword. And his partner at 230 pounds from Huntsville, Alabama, Doug Vines. And in the blue corner at 287 pounds from Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, Iron Mike Sharp. And his partner at 236 pounds from Portland, Oregon, Jesse Barr.
Tag team action starts this week's program here on Mid-South Wrestling. You see Jesse Barr in the red, white, and blue shedding his jacket with Canadian star Mike Sharp on one side against Doug Vines and Jeff Sword. Here's Bill Watts.
Well, this tag team action here is getting hot and heavy, as last week we had Big John Studd and Super Destroyer, the international tag champions from Atlanta. The Junkyard Dog and Mr. Olympia are still the Mid-South tag champions. Matter of fact, right now, that's the Junkyard Dog was sitting on top of the world. The 21st of June, he had the North American title, the Louisiana title, and the Mid-South tag title. And when he won the North American title, that automatically caused him to vacate the Louisiana heavyweight title. A tournament has been held in Baton Rouge, Louisiana on July the 6th. We'll go into the details, the results of the winner next week on television. The Junkyard Dog then against DiBiase lost the North American title in a very controversial situation, which we'll examine in depth further. So, like in the blink of an eye, Boyd Pierce, he went from the king of the heap to being down to one title, the co-holder of the Mid-South tag title with Mr. Olympia. And I think the big thing about the Junkyard Dog is he wonders, who can you trust?
It happened so quick, Bill, so quick.
This tag action going with Big Iron Mike Sharp and Jesse Barr happening fast and furious, hard to keep up with. We got Colonel Buck Robley back today against Rick Hangman Harris, a young man who has made quite a name for himself in Mid-South. Also the one-man gang and the Assassin. And I know, Boyd, if we have airtime available, you have a film clip of Jim Dugan, who appeared here as a bounty hunter against Dick Murdoch in a match from San Antonio, and he'll be here next week. Mississippi heavyweight title match, Mr. Olympia and the Grappler. And a special challenge, Ernie Ladd against the only man that ever hospitalized Andre the Giant, Killer Khan, in what should be a battle of giants in its own right. Great move by Jesse Barr, but he was tagged on. There was a tag behind as Sword tagged Jeff Vines. Doug Vines, excuse me. Doug Vines in, firing away those forearm smashes to Jesse Barr's bicep area. Caught Jesse Barr good with one to the jaw. Quick tag, and these youngsters tag team before, Boyd. You can tell they certainly are making quick teamwork situation. Headlock. Ted DiBiase wrestles Tom Jones next. Great to see Tom back on Mid-South Wrestling. He's been gone for some time. We've heard a lot of great reports. Always a top competitor. Doug Vines headlock on Jesse Barr. Another fast tag. These teams really is taking the action. They're wanting to make a name for themselves on Mid-South. Wow, he really put it to the small of Jesse Barr's back, but Jesse bridges and kicks out. Vines tries a standing suplex, but Jesse Barr, former United States Wrestling Federation champion from Oregon, he knows how to handle himself in the Greco-Roman style and the freestyle, and that's a definite. Mike Sharp comes in with no finesse, no technique, just brute, overpowering strength. And you see why it's called Iron Mike Sharp. Man's in physical condition is tremendous, his power is tremendous. And I'll tell you, he got right to the meat of the problem, said, I'm coming in and beat somebody. And Jesse Barr just kept the other man out. A great victory for Mike Sharp and Jesse Barr.
And we'll be back with more exciting action and see Ted DiBiase in the ring with Tom Jones after this word from Mid-South Wrestling.
Well, Boyd Pierce, there's two people that are never wrong, never make mistakes. One's a backseat driver and the other's a Monday morning quarterback, because they always can tell what the other person did wrong and always correct them. And here we have a chance to look at a situation, and it's a very serious situation. Maybe I was making too light of it, in the situation between the Junkyard Dog and Ted DiBiase. But Bob Roop made a comment in the closing moments of that match that DiBiase was doing something, taking something from his trunks and putting it in his glove. And he said, DiBiase had that ready for me, and now he's used it on the dog. And we went back and searched several tapes, and we saw that 2 weeks ago DiBiase had made an interview where Roop had accused him and said he didn't want him able to wear that glove, that it was, DiBiase claimed the glove is holding the tape of his injured hand in place. That when he started sweating, it would come loose, so he just had a glove on it to do it, and had been wearing the glove for about 3 weeks.
Right.
Roop said it was going to be used to cheat him out of the title. He didn't want DiBiase to be able to use it. Naturally, the Junkyard Dog never dreamed that this weapon would be used against him. But let's recall Ted DiBiase's interview and relive it as he was talking about wrestling Bob Roop for the title. One fall, no DQ, and he said he would never stoop so low as to use that glove to beat anybody. Let's relive that.
First of all, ladies and gentlemen, I don't want any of you wrestling fans out there to feel that Ted DiBiase has gotten too big for his britches or that I'm off on a big ego trip. It's just that I was unjustly robbed of the North American heavyweight title, and up until now I have not been given proper opportunity to regain that title. And I want to go on record as thanking Mid-South Wrestling right now for going ahead and giving me the opportunity that I want and I deserve to regain the North American title right here next week on television. I got a one-fall, no disqualification match with you, Bob Roop, for the North American heavyweight title. And Roop, if you can come out here next week and beat me in a no disqualification match without any other help from outside, no, I take that back, Roop. If I can't beat you in this match, I will pack my bag and I will leave Mid-South without any hard feelings because I've asked for this match and they've given me the opportunity. And about this hand, Roop, you're complaining about the hand. Well, you know why the hand is hurt. The hand is hurt because of you. And it is simply taped. There's a handball glove covering it to hold the tape on when it gets sweaty. And I would never, Roop, as you would insinuate, use this glove to cheat and use it for an unfair advantage over anybody because I'm not like you. So right here, Roop, next week, we're going to settle this thing once and for all.
If Ted DiBiase is to categorize himself or type himself or convict himself, it'll be out of the words of his own mouth. Because we heard what he said as he thought he was going to be wrestling Bob Roop. As it turned out, he was wrestling the Junkyard Dog for that North American title. And we'll let you fans at home be the judges just to what happened as we join the closing moments of that one fall, no disqualification match for the North American title that if DiBiase had not have won, he would have had to leave the Mid-South area. Let's watch and see.
Even with Junkyard Dog holding back, though, there is no way that Ted DiBiase can beat him because I'll tell you what, if I can't beat the Junkyard Dog, then Ted DiBiase can't beat me, then he can't beat the Junkyard Dog, and I'm coming here on TV next week and I'm going to beat the Junkyard Dog myself. Look at him, shaking hands. This has got to be a very, very difficult match for both of them because of the fact that how can you hurt a guy that's watched your back for years? How can you hurt a guy that's sat down at the dinner with you, that's been a friend of you, watched your kids grow up, the whole ball of wax? I love it. I hope they kill each other. Again, look at that power. Junkyard Dog caught him. Well, Junkyard Dog got a little bit off balance. DiBiase got close enough to the ropes. He didn't catch him with that thumper. That might have finished it right there. DiBiase got in the ropes. No. Caught him with that side drop. Not enough. DiBiase had enough resilience to kick out. It's ironic. DiBiase cheated me out of the North American title. Ooh, power slam. This could be it. Oh, I don't believe that. Neither does Ted DiBiase. Going for the figure four. Going for the leg lock. Junkyard Dog over the top rope, but hey, no disqualification in this match. DiBiase's hurt.
Over on the
Do you
cement
believe
floor.
the way, Boyd, excuse me, but do you believe the way Junkyard Dog came out of that power slam? That's what doing that 550-pound bench press, that's what working with those weights does for you. Gives you the strength to get a man off you. Now look at him. He's showing his friendship right here. He's showing the fact that he's got a heart. I don't agree with it. I think he ought to finish him. But he's showing he's got some heart here. He's helping a man. He's helping his friend back in the ring. What's Ted DiBiase doing? Wait a minute. What's he doing? He went in his tights and put something in that glove. Wait a minute. 1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3. Alfred Neely raises a hand.
He put something in that glove.
Of Ted DiBiase.
I knew it.
He is the new North American heavyweight champion.
I knew it. He planned. I knew it. I told the people weeks ago. That glove, he planned that for me all along. That glove was planned for me. Can you imagine his best friend? He put something in that glove. Nobody can knock the Junkyard Dog out with just one punch. Look at him. He's still out. Ted DiBiase had that plan for me. Boy, he's got some honor, doesn't he? He's got some decency, doesn't he? His ambition is a lot stronger than his sense of honor. He just stabbed his best friend in the back.
Well, DiBiase maintains that he did not do anything with the glove. And if he had, it's a no disqualification match, so nothing can be done about it anyway. The Junkyard Dog, in talking to him, said he's been hit with everything from when he was a kid in the ghetto, ball bats, everything else, but he's never been hit that hard because he was so wide open. He wasn't looking to have to protect his jaw. Well, you people will be the judge and the jury, and we have Ted DiBiase and Tom Jones in the ring for the next event.
This is a non-title event for one fall with a 10-minute time limit. In the red corner, at 255 pounds from Omaha, Nebraska, the new North American heavyweight champion, Ted DiBiase. And in the blue corner at 240 pounds, from Savannah, Georgia, Tom Jones.
Action continues now with the introduction. There's Tom Jones shedding his colorful jacket, revealing the red and yellow against Omaha, Nebraska's Ted DiBiase. Bill?
Well, like I say, right now the crowd is still largely divided. Some feel that Teddy did cheat the dog, and others, I don't know if they've seen all the information and all the facts. But either way, this should be a great contest between two great athletes. Tom Jones always maintained and proud of his conditioning. DiBiase, we've watched for 5 years there on Mid-South when he started his Rookie of the Year and on the coattails of Dick Murdoch, fighting such battles against such greats as Killer Carl Cox, to where he first gained the North American title. He and the Grappler in a match in Monroe that the Grappler's knee and leg and the ligaments were stretched, where the Grappler was then the one to wear the orthopedic boot. The battles Ted DiBiase's had with Paul Orndorff, with Bob Roop, when Bob Roop double-crossed Ted. And now it's all down to this. Quite a span for such a young man in wrestling, and certainly a force to be reckoned with, right or wrong, because he's in the center of things. He is the North American champion. We have a match coming up shortly that will decide who the #1 contender is for his title. I'll just say one thing, in Mid-South Wrestling, you don't get to rest on your laurels. Both men out here, scientific match. Tom Jones, DiBiase back to their feet. Arm drag, arm bar. Say DiBiase is sitting in the driver's seat. He's sitting where everything has to happen. When you hold the North American title, everybody in the country is shooting at you. When you're the Mid-South Tag Champions, even the big guns from Atlanta come down, like John Studd and Super D, they want to try to take you on. You're a Louisiana champion, you got to defend that title. The whole state of Louisiana, Mississippi champion, the state of Mississippi. So when you attract a title by the prestige and the importance of the title, so you attract the action. Wow, Tom Jones just about got a 3 count on DiBiase right here on TV. That would be a big upset to the new North American champion. Reverse headlock by Jones. So far, though, it's certainly DiBiase is still in the same style he's always wrestled, aggressive, hard, clean, fast, scientific. We haven't seen anything that shows a complete 180 degree in temperament or anything else. Maybe there is grounds for doubt as to what DiBiase did to the Junkyard Dog. DiBiase maintained, even after viewing that film clip, that there was nothing in that glove. Certainly we have nothing to prove any different. Body slam. Turnbuckle. Well, DiBiase getting a little rough, a little aggressive there, and Tom Jones retaliates in kind. Tom is just going ahead and sticking him. He says, I'm not going to take any of this nonsense. Tom firing in there. Gut shot. Tom Jones is coming here to walk tall. Headbutt. That's a big one. He's got DiBiase in a lot of trouble. DiBiase's going to his tights, Boyd. I can't believe my eyes. The champion going to his tights, and something is going in that glove, Boyd Pierce. Tom Jones hadn't seen it. DiBiase reverses Jones in, and he tees off. And Jones is out. Tom Jones is out. DiBiase's picking him up. Pile driver. Inside cradle. Boyd Pierce, I think, right there. One picture is worth 10,000 words in this. Look at the defiance. Look at the defiance on DiBiase's face as he faces that crowd. Ted DiBiase, the North American champion, may have just embarked on a rocky, rocky road, Boyd Pierce.
From the tights to the glove to the jaw to the pile driver, a victory for Ted DiBiase. The Junkyard Dog versus Bob Roop after this message from Mid-South Wrestling.
This is a non-title event for one fall with a 10-minute time limit. In the red corner at 252 pounds, from Blacksburg, Virginia, former North American heavyweight champion Bob Roop. And in the blue corner at 265 pounds from Tennessee, the Louisiana heavyweight champion, co-holder of the Mid-South Tag Team belts, and former North American heavyweight champion, the Junkyard Dog.
As the introduction of this exciting event, the Junkyard Dog versus former North American heavyweight champion Bob Roop. Alfred Neely points this way, calling for the bell. Match underway. Bill Watts.
Have you ever heard of a person having a weekend headache? I think the Dog's had a week-long headache because he looks like he came in a mood he left in last week, and he's out ready, and Bob Roop is feeling it, and Roop doesn't want it. I mean, Bob Roop is a tough man. He's been North American champion, Louisiana champion. Oh, clothesline. 15-yard penalty in the National Football League. The Junkyard Dog is out to walk tall. Look at that, look at that. Bob Roop just... The Junkyard Dog he's fit to be tied. He just said, Bill, who can I trust? What can I trust? So I'm going to go back just like I was when I was a kid. I'm going back to my junkyard, get just as mean as when I used to have to fight my way to school to get my milk money there when the bullies had tried to take it away from me. Something like everybody in the ring, what is going to be like slow dragging in a telephone booth with a tiger. Bob Roop going for the hip toss, and the Dog disc clamps down with that 560-pound bench press ability, reverses it, and he really heaved Bob Roop. I don't think the Dog wants anybody to have any doubts as who the #1 contender will be for Ted DiBiase, the North American title. And Boyd Pierce, one thing I think I can promise you, when the Dog, there's the big thump. I think, Boyd Pierce, I can promise you that when the Dog and DiBiase meet up, the match is going to have a lot different tempo and a lot different intensity than the last time, because the Junkyard Dog and DiBiase won't be out there in a clean, legal, scientific bout with the Junkyard Dog thinking that's the friend, that's the man, he was best man in his wedding. I think it'll be more like a Judas, and Junkyard Dog will be wanting DiBiase to feel the same thing that Bob Roop must now be feeling.
Exactly, Bill, as he leaves Bob Roop prone in the ring, and we'll be back with more action after this word from Mid-South Wrestling.
And now a title match for the Mississippi Heavyweight Championship. This event is for one fall or remaining television time. In the red corner at 246 pounds, the former North American heavyweight champion, the Grappler. And in the blue corner, at 242 pounds, the Mississippi heavyweight champion, Mr. Olympia.
The state champion of the state of Mississippi will defend his title now in this match. Mr. Olympia versus the challenger, the masked grappler. Your referee for this title match, Rick Ferreira. This should really be a wild one, Bill.
Certainly should. A young man, both of them masked. The grappler has been the North American champion, been the Mississippi champion, been the Louisiana champion. Mr. Olympia won the Mississippi title, co-holder with the Junkyard Dog of the Mid-South Tag title. Boyd, I wonder, can the Junkyard Dog now trust Mr. Olympia? I mean, where is the dog as far as being able to trust and to have any faith? You know, here's a man wearing a mask. That's his partner, his co-holder of the Mid-South Tag title. But the man who, Ted DiBiase, and like I said, he was the best man at DiBiase's wedding. They've stuck together through thick and thin, and DiBiase, the North American title, and the position DiBiase put him in caused DiBiase to take measures that's going to affect DiBiase's life, and certainly the relationship of the dog and DiBiase from now on. I wonder what the dog must be feeling about Mr. Olympia. I know this, that when Mr. Olympia came, it was without any fanfare, and he came and said, "Dog," he said, "I know that anybody that's your partner is a marked man, and I'm going to be your partner, and I'm going to stick with you," and thus he has. But certainly the dog right now has to wonder after the DiBiase situation, and certainly with DiBiase proved with Tom Jones that everything Bob Roop said about him must have a basis. Mississippi title match, 1 fall or TV time remaining. Standby matches, Big Ernie Ladd, a special challenge against Killer Khan. Buck Robley against Rick Hangman Harris. And if we have time, Joe Stark and David Price against the one-man gang and the Assassin. Wow. The Grappler shows why he's called the Grappler. He's got a challenge to everybody. Beat me if you can. So when you're the best in the wrestling business, they call you the Grappler. Tremendous intensity. Next week, Precious Paul Ellering will be back with another spotlight and also should be ready to wrestle. Precious Paul said he'll be wrestling here next week. Dr. Death, Steve Williams. There's been a challenge going on for some weeks that Bob Roop has said he'd challenge Dr. Death to a match. We hope to have that match on TV next week. The Grappler bearing down. Driving into Mr. Olympia. Olympia gets out of bounds. Referee has to break it. The Grappler doesn't give him a chance to recover, though, firing right into a body lock. Great to see Tommy Chesborough, the Oklahoma State University coach in Pueblo, Colorado at the USWF Championships. His son, fine young junior high athlete, certainly has all the technique and skills that make a father of a great team so proud of him. Coach Stanley Abel, Oklahoma University, his son has a good chance to be one of the top 142 pounders in the nation next year. These coaches get to be in the profession and watch their children. Somewhere two fathers are watching these two men vie for that Mississippi State title. All out, the rough, rugged world of professional wrestling. Grappler looks like the Grappler's going for the mask. Maybe he's going to unmask Mr. Olympia. Well, that's going to cause some fireworks. I guarantee you these men protect their identities. Now Olympia firing away. It's technically against the rules. The mask is considered the same as hair, and they're not supposed to be able to pull it, tug it. Drop kick by Mr. Olympia. Now looks like he's going to show the Grappler that two can go after that identity revealing situation. Oh, high risk, high flying move. The Grappler loading that boot. Loading that orthopedic shoe, Boyd Pierce. Wow, he's just trying to stomp Mr. Olympia. Mr. Olympia moving. He knows he's in a lot of trouble. He caught the grappler. He's got the sleeper. He's got the sleeper. Pushed him in. Caught him in a roll up. Mr. Olympia retains the Mississippi title.
He never got a chance to use the loaded boot, and there you see referee Rick Pereira handing him the coveted belt, signifying he's still Mississippi State champion. We'll be back. The Big Ernie Ladd versus Killer Khan after this word from Mid-South Wrestling Television Network.
This event is for one fall or remaining television time. In the red corner, at 306 pounds from Mongolia, General Skandor Akbar presents Killer Khan. And in the blue corner, at 327 pounds from Houston, Texas, the big cat, Ernie Ladd.
That's right, the big cat, Ernie Ladd, versus huge, massive, muscular, and powerful Killer Khan under the managership of General Skandor Akbar.
Well, Skandor Akbar is a man that knows goodbyes, and how he got Killer Khan away from Freddie Blassie in New York is a mystery that we don't know, but Akbar has been known to spare no expense. Big Ernie Ladd's after Killer Khan. Wow, Killer Khan felt the wrath of the big Hall of Famer from the San Diego Chargers as Big Ernie put that big ham to him. Skandor Akbar in the corner. Standby match. One fall TV time remaining. We have Buck Robley versus Rick Hangman Harris next if we have time. Killer Khan firing away, the man only man who ever put Andre the Giant in the hospital. And Killer Khan showing that viciousness. Man's in fantastic condition. Ernie Ladd, size 20 shoe there. 17, 20, somewhere in there.
After you get past 17, Bill, it doesn't really make that much difference.
Doesn't make any difference. Bear hug on the ropes. Ladd putting that 320 pounds into Killer Khan. Ladd 6'9", 320. Forearm, that forearm that used to devastate the offensive lineman. The American Football League. Ladd showing that size. He's pulling out all stops in this bout. Killer Khan, the minute you relax 1 second, take your concentration away. Khan, a martial arts expert with the size and strength to make anything effective.
Bill, if you'll notice Oriental stars, most of them have a ritual they go through. Killer Khan, whenever he becomes the aggressor, he has a mercenary squeal.
Well, that squeal or that scream comes way back from that early judo and martial arts training. It's more than just psychological. The actual fact is that when you make a move or a technique move of any kind, when you scream, it forces the tightening of your abdominal muscles, which adds to the power and strength of whatever you do. So it's really not just a scream to put fear in the heart of your opponent, but it's actually a technique they learned from childhood in the Eastern and the Oriental and the Mongolian countries, where they hand-to-hand combat is something taught from a very young age. Ernie Ladd better keep his concentration on what's going on in the ring and not let the referee be a bother to him, because the referee can't really decide the outcome of this match one way or another. All he can do is attempt, and I say attempt, to enforce the loosely enforced rules and regulations of professional wrestling with two giants like this, because certainly he's going to be intimidated by them. Wow. Man, Ladd went for the guillotine type leg maneuver. The referee knocked clear out here on the floor. Skandor Akbar's got that steel chair up there, and looks like he's putting it against the corner post and telling Khan to throw Ernie Ladd into it. But Ernie Ladd turned the tables. Ernie Ladd, you've got to keep Ernie Ladd after Skandor Akbar. Khan's, oh! Boyd Pierce, Killer Khan really really laid it to Ernie Ladd.
A tremendous wallop, that steel chair right across the head of the big cat.
Thrust kick to the throat. Killer Khan going up. Whoa. Victory to Killer Khan.
With Akbar on the outside directing, Killer Khan did just what he wanted him to do and gained a victory over Ernie Ladd. We'll be back and see Colonel Buck Robley versus Hangman Rick Harris after this word.
This event is for one fall or remaining television time. In the red corner, at 275 pounds from the Big Sky country of Montana, the Hangman, Rick Harris. And in the blue corner, at 242 pounds from Amarillo, Texas, Buckley Christopher George Robley III.
Hangman Harris in the ring with his rope, lariat, and a noose. He's had a lot of great victories using that hangman hold that he brings, but he's never faced a man unpredictable like Colonel Buck Robley, Bill.
Colonel Buck Robley, boy, I guess I'm sitting here a little bit subdued right now. You know, we just had a battle of giants, and certainly it was a giant battle with Skandar Akbar and Killer Khan coming out on one of the greatest athletes ever in football or wrestling, Ernie Ladd. And now we got Colonel Buck Robley against Rick Hangman Harris, who tried to make a name for himself by collecting a bounty on Dick Murdoch. He didn't collect the bounty, but he did hang Dick Murdoch up a little bit. You know, when I think about the redneck, Captain Redneck, the ex-Marine that's so proud of it on his foreign tour in Tokyo, Dubai, Hong Kong, I just wonder what his reaction's going to be when word catches up to him, and word travels so fast in wrestling. When word catches up to him about Ted DiBiase, his young protege, the man that he's known Teddy since Teddy was a youngster, and Dick Murdoch always looked up to Ted's deceased father, Iron Mike, who was fatally injured in a match in Texas and died, and Iron Mike DiBiase. I just wonder what Dick Murdoch, how he's going to reflect on this situation, because, you know, he was a partner of the Dogs. And they said that it could never be done, that a redneck like Dick Murdoch and the Junkyard Dog, a man from the ghetto, could ever be a team. And Murdoch and Dog were a team, and they were an inseparable team, and they were a victorious team. And now for Ted DiBiase, his own protege, so to speak, to be so treacherous and so infamous against the Junkyard. I just wonder what Dick Murdoch will say and what his reaction will be. A lot of things going through my mind right now, Boyd Pierce, and of course, Buck Robley, Colonel Christopher Robley. A man that says, nobody calls me yellow. He asks no quarter and he gives none. Knows every trick in the book, from the psychological warfare to the infighting, the wrestling. No stranger to have beat Buck Robley. He'll admit that he's been whipped, but I'll guarantee everybody that's ever whipped him has paid a price. And certainly Buck Robley's come out on top and won a lot more than he's lost. He's got a great heart. Hangman Harris and Buck Robley. Great victory by a great young Mississippi champion, Mr. Olympia. A lot of things happening, Boyd. I guess you just need sometimes time to sit down and really reflect on them. It never stands still in Mid-South Wrestling. It's always ongoing. It's always exciting. Arm drag takeover by Buck Robley, showing that wrestling ability. Hangman Harris firing back. He knows he can beat Buck Robley, that everybody in the whole world in wrestling is going to take note. Forearm smashes. Next week, Precious Paul Ellering. Possibility of a match between Steve Dr. Death Williams and Bob Roop. Another quick move by Robley. Now Buck's starting to fight back with some of that alley instinct, but Rick Harris got a tremendous head of steam built up there, a good momentum, and it's hard to turn it around. Reverse neck breaker. Harris using the patented attack that he has where he attacks that neck. Robley coming out. Harris is hanging Buck. He's got Buck up in that hangman. Buck coming over the top. Buck, did he adjust that brace? I couldn't tell, Boyd Pierce, looking at the monitor, but Buck Robley sure popped him with something, and the Hangman has just been stretched out himself, and Buck Robley, 1, 2, 3.
Well, Buck did just what he had to do, and the Hangman thought he had him. It did not work. Robley the winner.
He's been known to do what he has to do.
Exactly, and we'll come right back after this important message from Mid-South Wrestling Television Network. We have just a few minutes left, so we're going to show you a bounty hunter who came here a few weeks ago. He'll return next week. We'll join the final moments of a match between Jim Duggan and Frank Monty from San Antonio. Watch it right now.
He takes a big blow there from Hacksaw Duggan. There's another one. Monty tries to make a comeback on Duggan. Duggan rakes the fingers across the area of the eyes. Now Duggan grabs him by the arm, brings him all the way into the ropes, knocks him down with an elbow. Big Hacksaw Duggan with a kick to the top of the head of Frank Monty. Duggan, former professional football player for the Atlanta Falcons. Oh, picks him up. What's he going to do with him? Shoulder breaker. A shoulder breaker. I haven't seen that in a while either. I've seen a few shoulders broken like that.
That's right, Steve. You know, I believe Hacksaw's theory is stay on top of your man, tire him down no matter what it takes, stomp and kick and punch, and it looks like he's trying to twist Frank's head around so he can see where he's been instead of where he's going right now.
Hacksaw Duggan with a knee to the back of Frank Monty. No, we had a lot of people asking about the Southwest heavyweight champion, Dick Slater. Well, Dick Slater is still the Southwest heavyweight champion. I want all the fans to know as Frank Monty makes a comeback on Hacksaw Duggan. He grabs Duggan out of that corner, goes him to the center of the ring. Frank Monty comes in on top of him, grabs him by the head, up a forearm to the side of the head, staggers him back. There's another forearm. Duggan is in the corner across the way with Monty in front. Monty brings him all the way across the ring, throws him into the turnbuckle, and there's a knee up underneath the chin of Frank Monty by Hacksaw Duggan. Monty, a leap off the ropes, and Duggan caught him. Duggan caught him, and now he slams him in there, Scott. He's bringing him over this way. Look at that wild look on that face of Hacksaw Duggan.
It looks like he's got a ping pong ball he's bouncing around. He caught that 235 pounds of man in midair.
That's all the time we have this week. Next week, Jim Duggan will be here, Precious Paul Ellering, also Dr. Death Steve Williams versus Bob Roop. For guest commentator Bill Watts, I'm Boyd Pierce saying goodbye from Mid-South Wrestling.